Hello, my name is Guna Zučika and I come from Latvia, and I do work with a band called Promotakse, or as some other people may know as Brainstorm. And my job is on international exploitation. So I do work with a band outside of Latvia and also doing marketing and PR within Latvia. I know them since 1993 because I was a fan of the band firstly, and then I made a fan club when I was in high school, and it kind of naturally went in a way that I started to work with them professionally in 1999. At the time they were signed to record label Microphone Records, which is EMI licensee, and I started to work there. But a few years later, when band decided to go and release the albums on their own, so I joined their management. And I've been away shortly because, you know, as you heard, I've been with them all my life. So sometimes people want to see what's happening on the other side of the moon, or whatever how you call. So I was, for half a year, I worked for MTV Baltic. But I understood that music management is really my calling. But I took another year off and I went to study in London music management course. Because in Latvia, and I believe in Estonia the same, is that people who started to work in the music industry at the very beginning, meaning after Soviet Union broke down, there wasn't schools who was teaching it, there wasn't courses, and we actually did learn from the experience and from just finding the ways on the internet or whatever. And I kind of felt that I need this kind of 1 year to do it academically. And after graduating, I came back and I'm again at Brainstorm Management, which is also record label and promoter and the publisher. With Brainstorm, I think, and with all the bands who are starting out, firstly, it is about if the band have a vision, and having said that, also creatively, but also from this point of view that how we will succeed. And with the Brainstorm, it is so that when they started and when they had first salaries for the gigs or whatever, they didn't split on 5 members. They did split this income on 6, and this 1/6 part went to in a box, which they started to use, for example, on their marketing, or later on having first people on board on management. So the first should come from the band, because it's obvious that not on the very early stage of the career you will have all the management team suddenly out of nowhere. So firstly, it should be a band, and then of course when they have these people on board, in our case I think it's mutual, and all the decisions, whatever they are about marketing or about countries we are going to try to get outside of Latvia, or all the decisions within Latvia are made together, management and the band. It's not like management will figure out something and then will say just go and do it. It doesn't work that way, but at the same time there is a mutual trust. And because like as you heard, I've been with them basically more than 10 years, and the similar is with other people on the management. So we already know each other so well that sometimes you can make a decision without telling the band, or vice versa, just because you know how it will work. I want to start with telling that with the Brainstorm, it's interesting that with the different albums, it worked in different territories. For example, the first international release, which was Among the Suns in 2000, the main markets was Baltic states, Belgium, Finland and Sweden. The next album, because it was most likely a bit different in the sound, because it was a different producer, it worked in Poland and Eastern Europe. But I think on these terms we have to look also together with how developed the music industry globally. Because when we started, we were on an EMI label, which is one of the majors, and it was just about the time when all the trouble started with the major labels. And what it meant was that, okay, we were up and coming band, but then what they decided globally was they took marketing money from these up-and-coming bands and concentrating only on the superstars. And we know if you don't have a marketing plan, you don't have nothing. So that was actually the decision when band that was the time when band decided to go on their own label. And then going to Russia, it's also when you work on management and also when you work in a band, you have to understand that music industry in different territories work differently. And if we speak about Russia and speak about Western countries, there is totally different business models. Why Brainstorm in Russia worked was, it wasn't a business decision, but it came naturally that they did a duet with the Russian band B2, a song called Skoyski Ulici. But it came out of their friendship, and it was just like, oh, let's do it. And that kind of did breakthrough for the band in Russia. And we did work really hard on the Russian market. And as I said, it works totally different. For example, sometimes why some Western countries' bands doesn't succeed in Russia is just because they are going with the mindset how it works in West. But I think this is our kind of good thing that we can understand both sides. For example, in Russia, you don't expect money from copyright societies, you will never get them. And for people from developed countries, they don't understand that. And you know, the concert industry works different, the communication works different, so you have to understand how it works on that particular market to succeed. I think for the bands, usually, or their management, like when they think about career outside of their native country, they try to dream about Germany, UK, America, Scandinavia. And they don't concentrate on, let's say, neighboring countries, which is wrong. But at the same time, I think it's also because the media doesn't play as much maybe Latvian music in Estonia and vice versa. But I think now it does really change, and I think Everton Two Dragons in Latvia is really known. They're playing a lot of festivals, and they have grown, and they have Latvian label. And I think it's just because the industry itself should cooperate more, and it does happen like with Natali Music Week or Positivus Festival. There is a lot of Estonian music industry people coming. It just, I think, takes time when people will understand that any territory is good if you succeed. But on a positive note, I want to say that those bands you mentioned, and also with the Brainstorm, the first country to embrace outside of Latvia was Estonia. It was 2000 and the song My Star, and it was even before Eurovision that we came here and people knew the song, and people I remember that we came and the record label said, oh, there will be a signing session in supermarket. And the guys, nah, okay, let's go. You know, we thought maybe 5, 6, 7 people will come. And then suddenly there is a full of people. And the same is with Instrumenti. The first country to play their songs outside of Latvia was Estonia. And the same with Everton Two Dragons. Of course, they now climbing up in other territories, but I think the first country really appreciating was Latvia. So, and I usually say you don't need to have many bands to break through firstly. It's, you know, somebody have to start. So I'm positive about it, because everything takes time. And as I said, firstly, maybe because bands really try to, at their early stage of career, they don't think about Estonia or Latvia or Lithuania where to break through, but about those big markets. And then they got the first slap on the cheek, and then, okay. And it's a bit kinda weird in a sense, because, for example, like as I said, when I started out and when it all industry started out after Soviet Union broke down, there wasn't any courses at all. But now we have in Latvia, I think, 3 or 4 universities or colleges having these music or cultural management studies. But somehow, still, for example, the bands, they do not, they are having troubles to find people to work with. And I think it's also that, you know, it sounds very sexy industry, like, you know, music and concerts and so on, but it's really hard work, firstly. And secondly, you need to be really determined, and you have to study on your own a lot, and money doesn't go straight away. And it's not easy business to start with, so that's why I think a lot of people try, like start, and then they are just, you know, disappearing, the bands or the management, both. And at the same time, I think one of the problems is also that people think music industry is one big bubble, which is not true. There is a lot of different sectors within it. And when you are a management person working with a band, it's not only having a song delivered to radios or having a TV interview or having a gig. You have to know everything about copyrights, about neighboring rights. You need to understand about how to make record deals, how to make like a lot of different things. And that's why I think at the beginning people think it's easy and fun, but then they kind of get scared and disappearing. I think when, for example, when you are organizing like concerts in, let's say, cities in Latvia or something, there is a cooperation with a local city government, so-called. But on a like a overall Latvian governmental situation is, I think this is a really good time, because I think this is when things can start changing. And I'm saying it because we just recently had a seminar in Latvia, like it was called Radi Latvia, which means like Radi, it means create, but also Radi in Latvian is like relatives, so it's kind of playing with the words. But the important thing was that there came Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Economics, and Ministry of Education. And they were all saying that yes, they understand that creative industries and music as one of them is important. And but at the same time, people always like to say bad things about whatever governments and so on and so on. But I think it's not a problem only about them saying that there is, you know, big culture and small culture or whatever. The problem is also within the industry itself, because if you are not cooperating within your industry, understanding what you need, and go and have a dialogue with the politicians, then you can't blame them, because they can't know about your problems. And that's why I think it's not good to say that, you know, oh, they don't support or whatever, which is true. There haven't been such foundations or export offices in Latvia as it is in Scandinavia or some other developed countries. But I usually like to say we haven't missed out much, because, as I said, there have been 20 years since independence. And these first generation people who started to work, they needed to have this kind of time to understand how it really works, what is needed, and now we should come together, and then we'll go to the government and start dialogue. So I'm really positive, and we'll see. Of course it will take time. It's not gonna happen overnight, but it's all up to us how we will be able to come together and go and talk. To be honest, in Latvia there have been similar events. One was I believe 1999 or something. It was called Forte Riga, but it was made too big. They wanted to make it like Popcom or Midem, but it was the first kind of such event. And then a few years later there was Baltic Music Conference, where I was also one of the organizers, together with the British Council. And it was for 3 years or something. But then British Council policy changed, and it kind of stopped happening. And when I came back from London from my studies, I had in mind maybe something similar, like Tallinn Music Week, but and it was, I think, like some 4 years ago or something. And I did miss first Tallinn Music Week because I was in London. But then I understood, coming here all the other years, I understood that there is no need for that big event in Latvia, because For example, then it will be a situation that we are competing each with other, and these international industry people who are going to these kind of things are one and the same. So there is no need to have such in Latvia, but there is a need, and which is happening is for having smaller particular seminars. And we've done with, again, with the British Council about marketing, and then we did one with the Martin Elbon, who is here as well. So, and we do already cooperate with Tallinn Music Week. For example, last year and this year we did Tallinn Music Week reception in Latvia. Helen and Thomas came over, and they were talking, and we were inviting media and Latvian industry people, and they were talking about an event, and we were sharing our stories who have been before. And you can see that amount of delegates from Latvia have increased during these 2 years really a lot. And that's why I think we already have this nice cooperation which will grow with every year. About Latvian bands here, there is already this year playing, there was last year playing, and the year before, because I understand that the main policy for Tallinn Music Week is to showcase Estonian acts, which is fair, but they don't forget, and I know that there will be at least 3 acts from Latvia this year and next year, so it's all, this cooperation already is established, and I think it will develop even more.